What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spot Show podcast, an independent wrestling podcast with a few pit stops along the way. Hi there. How are we all doing today? Are we doing good? I think we're all doing good. We all should be doing good on the brink of World War III, brother. We absolutely should be doing good. I jest, of course. Take what's going on in the world and make jokes about it. Am I right?
Because if you sort of ceasefire in history, brother.
If you did, look, we're not. This is wrestling. You know what I mean? We're not going to talk about geopolitical strife. That's not what we're here to do. I, of course, am your host, Jim Mint 10 Dickie Wabash, and I am joined, as always, by the one-legged wonder, Michael Madrox, who is over with the Sandman, by the way.
Yeah, brother.
I went ahead because I knew that you were more than likely going to be like, I'm over with the Sandman, and it was going to get brought up. So what I did was took your steam.
Yeah, thank you for that one. Don't let me have fucking shit. You're just jealous.
Brother, it is what it is. It is what it is. We are here. We are going to have a little fun today. You know, we're going to explore a concept that we explored roughly a month ago or so. We are coming back to a concept. But before we get into it, let me just remind you that this is, of course, the Spot Show podcast. Each and every week, Michael Madrox and I get together and we talk about the wacky world of independent professional wrestling and everything in between. If you like what we're doing here, you can, of course, go on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios. There you're going to get this show early and ad-free, as well as all of our other shows and some exclusive shows, such as House Show, such as Paid Show, such as Big Stupid Popcorn, which will be coming out soon. A little teaser there for everyone. That's not the only way that you can support us, though. There are free ways that you can support us if you don't have the extra ducats that you can give us. We get it we understand it completely, but go on over to patreon.com/MadBash Studios. That's the best way to keep the microphones on and the envelopes full. Or you can go to madbashstudios.com. There you're going to find links to all of our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of those. Go there, support us there as well. You can also go to your favorite podcasting platform, leave us a 5-star written review, help us get some motion. You know what I'm talking about? Get this steam locomotive going down the track. We are, 2.5 years? Wow.
Yeah,
that's
brother.
The first time I've said that out loud. First time that I have really taken that into consideration, that we're 2.5 years of doing this. So we've got a ton of backlog. Go listen to some of the old stuff, whatever you want to do. The fact is, the more that we are in your ears and on your eyes, we are getting the steam that we need. And, you know, more ears, more eyes. That's really what we're looking for here. When
you think about it, though, brother, we are 8 weeks away from episode 100.
I know.
Jesus.
Are we doing anything special? Have we talked about that?
We talked about it, but we haven't really decided on anything.
And by that, I mean probably day of, I'll be like, this is what we're doing.
Yep.
Which is mostly what
our
do
original plan was to get the Sandman on episode 100, but
yeah, we never actually really talked about that. Sandman on 100 was going to be one of the things that we had talked about.
Yeah, but that happened a little bit sooner, so.
Hey, I'll take 91. You know why 91? Because I was born in 91, so I guess it kind of...
It works out for you.
Kind of lines up there. So I'm going to get into something funny that I want to mention. But first, I want to give some plug skis and some upcoming dates for everyone. Coming up this Saturday, June 28th. You never know where Mad Bash is going to pop up. That's all I'm going to say right there. Then the next date that we've got coming up, July 19th, we are going to be in Odin, Indiana for Elite Pro Wrestling. We got a double shot weekend because July 20th, Mad Bash Wrestling presents Nothing Personal. It's just business. You want to talk about some plug skis? Let's give some plug skis right now. We have announced two huge matchups for that show. we have got a three-way dance for the MadBash Wrestling Championship. Colby Jack is going to be defending against Devontae Knox and Dalton Davis. Also on the card, we have got Quest Parker versus Jason Levi. That is one that you are going to want to see. Feel like that's going to be, someone trying to make a name for themselves in MadBash with someone who is still kind of already trying to make a name for themselves in MadBash because he's been on a bit of a losing streak.
Yes.
In Jason Levi. So, he's full of piss and vinegar going into that match for sure. Another plug ski for you. Tomorrow, Friday, over on our YouTube channel, you are going to get to see the match that everybody is talking about. Patreon saw it first. MadBash Wrestling Uncut. Devontae Knox versus Dalton Davis. See how we got to this three-way dance with Dalton, with Devontae. That is one that you are going to want to check out. Also, the big plug ski, go back to the archives. Last week, we had Sandman on the podcast. Go listen to that. Really fun interview. Plus, we had a few other things that we talked about on there. And of course, this episode is brought to you by Elite Pro Wrestling and Venom Energy, but you're going to hear a little bit more about them later. We are going to jump into the topic now.
Yeah, the topic that Dominic Mysterio has been pulled from Night of Champions. That's my moneymaker, Dickie Wabash.
So, that was going to be a point that I brought up, but let's bring it up now. You technically are in your injury clause rights right now. You have a week to decide if you want to drop Dominic Mysterio because of his injury. I'm pretty sure this injury is a shoot. He was pulled from Night of Champions, so why else would they pull him other than shoot being hurt? So you have until the end of next podcast to decide if you want to drop Dominic Mysterio and pick up someone in free agency.
Nope, keeping him.
Decision has already been made.
Decision
all
made,
right,
brother.
It's set. It's set. Then you can't drop him. The only other time you're going to get a chance to drop him is SummerSlam.
I don't think it's shoot. I don't think it's shoot.
What makes you say that?
I think a Georgia boy is a little afraid with the current contents of the world.
So maybe AJ is like, I'm not going over to Saudi.
Yeah.
Again, I know that we said that we weren't going to get into like geopolitical stuff here, but I'm legitimately shocked that the show's even happening.
Yeah, me too.
Because airspace is shut down.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are they taking a fucking ferry?
I'm pretty, yeah. Like, what are you going to do? Like, how is Saudi Arabia, like, it's a peninsula. So, you could technically take a ferry there, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, you could, but like, literally the two countries that are next to them are at war, essentially, even though they're, the ceasefire or whatever. But it's like, I wouldn't want to go over there. I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't care how much money I'm being paid,
Apparently they don't get the bonuses anymore for Saudi.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Dude, there's a whole conversation that we could have about, like, is CM Punk a hypocrite? And yeah. I really don't want to get into it, but I think he kind of is. Yeah. I also think that people are putting a little bit too much stock in what people say. I also think CM Punk maybe was just a little bit too knee-jerk reaction. We mentioned it already being full of piss and vinegar. I think that's just CM Punk full of whatever. But that's a conversation for another day. We can get into that. Michael Madrox is officially keeping Dominic Mysterio on his team. I can see why it would be a work now because, again, maybe AJ, maybe he doesn't feel comfortable going over there, and I can't say I blame him.
In bigger news, what the fuck are they doing with R-Truth right now, dude?
That's the question.
They're flopping the shit out of this character change.
But is it like, look, let's just call it what it is right now. R-Truth is not going to be a top guy at this stage in his career. So are they putting him in the position that he needs to be in? Let's just call it what it is. Let's just call it what it is.
I want Ron Killings, man. TNA Ron Killings over R-Truth any day.
Well, yeah, but that was also 20 years ago.
I understand that. But I mean, the dude can still work. He can still cut a fucking promo. Like,
yeah.
What are they doing here? They're still calling him R-Truth. He's still smiling. He's still goofy. He still thinks Damian Priest is one of his best friends. Like,
Sam Roberts had the theory, and we watched the video. I think you were here when I watched it, of like maybe there's multiple personality going on or something. Maybe that's the character that they're going for. Hard to say.
Hard to say.
I don't know. Yeah. So for those of you that remembers, about a month ago, we started a new segment, if you will, here on the Spot Show podcast. We don't necessarily have a name for it. I don't think that it really needs a name. Where I go to the interwebs and I find a list, a wrestling list specifically. And we discuss the topic of the list. We give our version of the list. Then we go through the article and we give our thoughts on the list. We try to predict the list. Say list one more time, Dickie. I don't think people have gotten the point.
You just made the list.
And basically, we then rank it. We see what we think. Last time we did, it was most memorable Money in the Bank cash-ins. And now, this week, we are going to be dipping our toes into my arena, something that I know very well. And that's managing. That is managing, the lost art of managing. I was just having a conversation with someone Sunday. Maybe I was talking to nothing. I probably could have got more done talking to a brick wall. But I was talking about the lost art of managing. There is really, managing is not a thing anymore. You don't really see it. You've seen it start to come back a little bit, but I mean, you got to look to the 80s and the 90s.
Managers nowadays, dude, all they do is just sit out there. They don't do anything.
100%. And that's why I call it the lost art, because a manager is something that has always been just more than here I am. It's the mouthpiece. It's what makes you believe the person that they're managing. It's what elevates the person that they are managing. Elevates
the performance in the ring too.
Yes, and if you are the managee, you know how to properly use your manager and all of that. So, as we like to do, let's give our thoughts, which we kind of already are, on managing, who we think some of the best managers are. And then we will get more into the list of it. But I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Madrox, because you are on the other side of it, because you were, of course, a former worker. You've had your fair share of managers. And now granted, let me also, I want to preface this. The list that I have chosen is titled The Best Managers in WWE History. So that means specifically WWE. That's what that means to me. Maybe they're a little bit loose on that interpretation. I don't know. But the thing is, it's like Paul Bearer or Percy Pringle. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same it's the same person, but Percy Pringle was never in the WWEF.
Personally, for me, since they're calling it WWE, this is after the fact they bought WCW and ECW. So we got to include them in our personal preferences. I think that's only fair.
That's not a bad way of looking at it, but I also get it. It's the history of that company specifically.
Yeah.
But with the art of this, with this discussion right now, the art of managing.
Our list right now.
This is our list. These are let's just do managers in general. So let's go ahead and let's start with you. Give me like your thoughts on managing in general and who you think are some of the best. Not necessarily, don't give me a list right yet, but just give me some of the best.
Like I said earlier, the manager's job is to bring the excitement into the ring and focus more on the match itself. No one's using managers to get heat. No one's using managers to get sympathy from the crowd or anything. It's dead, just like tag team wrestling to me. And you want to go back in history and look at the best managers. Bobby the Brain Heenan. You never just saw him standing in one spot, not doing nothing. Bill Alfonso, another great one of all time. The Grand Wizard. I don't even know if Dickie remembers that name.
Going way back. I know the Grand Wizard. The fuck are you talking to right now? Yeah, you're going way back with that one. Yeah. But that's pretty. I mean, I pretty much agree with everything that you're saying. Yeah. I mean, a manager is like, and I said at the top of this, it's more than just someone that stands there. So then to kind of continue it going here, what makes the upper echelon? Like, what makes someone worthy of being in the discussion of the best?
Can I throw out a hot take there?
Go ahead.
Miss Elizabeth.
Okay.
One of the worst managers of all time.
Ooh.
She was nothing but eye candy, brother.
Okay. I understand. So
she was more of a prop than a manager.
I get that. So then elaborate further. Like, what do you think is the difference between a prop and a manager?
The prop just stands there. The prop's there to make the guy look better. You know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. I disagree with you. I think Miss Elizabeth is way up there. In terms of if we're talking specifically WWE, how do you not have her in conversation as one of the GOATs? So with me, it's a little bit more close to home with me.
Name one manager spot Miss Elizabeth ever did that popped you.
Are you forgetting about whenever Randy Savage landed on her and Hogan had to take her to the back? How much tis on?
It was a prop, brother. What a manager spot. That's a prop spot.
You know, I think sometimes what you do is you just say hot takes for the sake of saying a hot take.
No, I'll die on this fucking hill. Miss Elizabeth was a trash manager. She was more of a prop.
Okay. Now with me managing, it's a little bit more close to home because I, of course, was a manager for many, many years. I think that what a good manager does is gets their guy over, their guy or girl, gets them over, but not at the expense of, I said that backwards. They get themselves over, but not at the expense of the person that they're managing, because I think that a manager needs to be over, because why are you going to listen to this person that, so let's just use an example. Dickie Wabash is managing Michael Madrox, which actually did happen a couple of times. Why are you going to listen to just some random guy off the street saying that, Michael Madrox is the best. Michael Madrox is going to do that. Michael Madrox is going to do this, that, all over the place. You kind of got to establish like who you are so that people will want to listen to you first and foremost. And I think that it's a very subtle art form that is works differently for each person. But I think a manager, ultimately, what I'm saying with this is that a true manager doesn't take away from the person they are with, they add to them.
Yes.
And I think here's a hot take, and I'm probably going to get some heat from this from friends of the show. That is my one complaint with Bill Alfonso. I felt as though he took away a little bit too much. I love him. I think that work that he did was great, but that's my one gripe with him, is that I felt like he took away. And I get it's his gimmick. He's the cheerleader, daddy, blowing the whistle, daddy, come on. But that's my one gripe with him. Every other aspect of it, I thought he was incredible. incredible. But when it came time and he was like actually out there, I think it was a little bit too distracting. And that's coming from a huge ECW mark and a big Bill Alfonso fan, but I'm also looking at it where I can be subjective.
Well, how do you feel about Jimmy Hart in that situation then? Because the megaphone's no different than the whistle.
Same concept. I think Jimmy Hart. Here's another hot take. Let's give this one. I think Bill Alfonso is a better manager than Jimmy Hart. I don't think Jimmy Hart's always cracked up to be. All my gripes with Bill Alfonso, increase that tenfold with Jimmy Hart. Increase it tenfold with Jimmy Hart. I don't like Jimmy Hart. Everything that you're saying about Miss Elizabeth, Jimmy Hart was just a prop. Jimmy Hart was just a prop. That's all he was.
Yep.
And that prop was a megaphone. So what do you say, Madrox? What do you say we get into this list?
Let's do it, brother.
All right. Don't know why you hesitated there, but I'm all for it.
Like, we didn't really make a list. We just threw out a couple. But you know what?
Boy,
let's go through this list and see who we'd remove and who we'd replace.
Well, it's almost as if you should just sit back and let me steer the ship here because I know what I'm doing. So I have found an article, The Best Managers in WWE History Ranked. This is written by Ryan Drost, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And this was posted on December 27th, 2022. Of course, WrestlingInc.com. I'm going to give a little bit, just spoiled who the first person on the list is on accident. The importance of a wrestling manager has changed a lot over the years. At one time, managers gave wrestlers credibility or added dimension, which I agree. They supplemented what might have been a major weakness for the wrestler, the ability to work the microphone, which, yes, that's first and foremost. If your manager is not a mouthpiece, you're wasting your time.
Yep.
For any wrestling fan who grew up in the 80s or earlier, managers were a critical part of weekly television. Over the last 20 years, though, it is undeniable that WWE has placed much less emphasis on managers. However, when given time to shine, a manager can still make a difference in the modern era. I agree with that wholeheartedly. There have even been managers throughout history that have been more entertaining than their wrestler counterpart, 100%. I refer to you to Dickie Wabash managing Michael Madrox. And there have been managers who the wrestler grew jealous of, too. Boy, that happened with me a lot. I point you to Cecil Cerveza, who was very jealous of how over I was. Whoops. Forgot that this was paid show. Or this wasn't paid show. We've also seen the manager serve as a storyline device in wrestling, blah, blah, blah. With all this in mind, who were the biggest difference makers when it came to managers in WWE over the last several decades? Let's take a look back at the best of the best. So now that we know the basis of this list, now that we know the criteria that they're looking for, let's give a subjective list of who we think the top three might be. And then going off of the parameters of this, let's start to guess where we think people will fall on this list, whatever. So I'm going to start. Let's go with top three. Now, here's where we're going to change it. This is WWE history. These are only managers that were in WWE.
Sorry, Karen Jarrett.
Sorry about that. Starting at number one, I think the GOAT is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is the greatest manager in WWE history. Number two, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go Bobby Heenan. I think Bobby Heenan was so instrumental in so many things that he did. He really set the groundwork for what a manager should be. Now, number three is a bit of a tough one. And even though you don't agree with me on this, I got to go number three is Miss Elizabeth. Because I think that with the description of this list, she added another level to Macho Man that really helped him. So
Okay.
there's my 3.
My 3 is very close to Dickie Wallbash's. My number 1 is Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Okay.
And my number 2 is Paul Heyman. And my number 3 is not the prop, Miss Elizabeth. I'm going to go with Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Fuji, brother.
Shit. Okay.
He managed tag team champions, world champions, intercontinental champions. Let's go.
All over the place. All over the place with it. All right. So those are our subjective lists. So now let's get a little bit trying to get into the mindset of the author here. Again, let me say this. Number 12 has been spoiled for me because I accidentally saw it. This is a list of 12. This is a list of 12. So I'm going to give you a name and you tell me if you think they break the top 5. Paul Heyman.
Yes.
Where do you think he sits at on this list? Just guessing.
Top 2.
You think he's in the top 2? Okay. I would say he's in the top 3. I think they're going to put him in the top 3. I think I'm guessing what they're going to do because he's talking about the 80s at the top of this.
Mhm.
Bobby Heenan is number 1 on this list. I will bet you. Do you agree or disagree?
I already said Heenan's my number 1.
But he's your number 1. But we're talking about this specifically.
Yeah.
We're just trying to guess where this author of this
It depends
article
on the
might be
guy's
going.
age. If he grew up in the golden age, it's Heenan, number 1.
Well, what's making me go by this is that he said any fan of wrestling who grew up in the 80s, he's already talking about the 80s right there and putting them on a pedestal.
So that means Heenan, Blassie, Fuji.
Blassie. Oh my
all
God.
gonna be tops.
But what? If we're talking about strictly WWE, does Blassie, and we're talking strictly, do you put him in the top 5?
Yes.
I think I do too. Here's one. Is Sensational Sherry on this list?
Number 6.
So you think she doesn't break the top 5?
I don't think she breaks the top 5.
Okay. I am going to guess that she is in the top 5. No, I disagree. I disagree on that. I'm not going to say number 6. I think she breaks the top 10 though. Because this is 12. This is 12. So
the guy's got to sprinkle some like modern people in there. Like I guarantee Lita's going to be on there for what she's done with Edge.
You really think you're going to put Lita in there? I don't see Lita in there.
You don't see Lita in there?
No. Do you want to stick modern though? Well, okay. Keep this in mind. This is 2022.
Okay.
Do you put Scarlett? You don't put Scarlett?
No.
What about, okay, here's one. What about Precious Paul Ellering? Does he make the list? Because you got to think, Legion of Doom, and then he also did AOP there for a while.
I would say no.
You don't think,
because he was more Road Warriors manager back in the NWA days that he was famous for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
His run in WWE, not memorable at all. Even with AOP.
Yeah. Do you is Luna Vachon on this list?
If she's not, it's a tragedy.
Yeah. I think Luna is definitely, I don't think she's top 5.
No, top 10 for sure, though.
But she's in the top 10, definitely.
My question is, do you put Perfect on this list?
No, I do not put Mr. Perfect on this list at all, no. There was one more I was going to throw out at you.
Michael Hayes, brother, with the new brood.
Dude, did I tell you I tracked down Michael Hayes versus Tracy Smothers from that was a match that happened in WWE, brother, I'm telling you. Okay. Do you think we see Lana on this list?
I hope to God not.
Do you think we see Rico on this list?
I hope to God so.
Okay. Do you think we see China?
China was more of an enforcer than a manager, though.
It's tomato, though.
Yeah, I know. I don't think we see Harvey Whippleman. I don't think we see Clarence
You don't think we
Mason.
see? We will not see Clarence Mason. I do agree with you on that one. I don't think we see Clarence Mason. We will more than likely see Harvey Whippleman on this list.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm placing the bets right now. Let's think with our assumptions. Talking about the 80s specifically. Talking about how managing has gone downhill. Talking about this criteria that he's working with here. I'm guessing my top 3. Number 1 is going to be Heenan. 2 is going to be Heyman. 3 is going to be Miss Elizabeth. No, I lied. Heyman? No. Fuck. Heenan, Elizabeth, Heyman. That's the top 3, I'm guessing.
I'm still going Heenan, Heyman, and Fuji.
But that's your personal list. Do you think Fuji on this objectively, not subjective, do you think objectively Mr. Fuji makes the top
Fuji
3?
did during the 80s and the early 90s? Yep.
Okay. What do you say we get into this list then?
Let's break it down, brother.
Let's break it down after we hear a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Elite Pro Wrestling. We all love live entertainment, right? We all love live wrestling, right? Well, what if I told you that there is a place that combines the entertainment and the wrestling live that we all love? Look no further than Elite Pro Wrestling. Whether it's in person in Odin, Indiana, or Washington, Indiana, or if you check them out on YouTube, Elite Pro Wrestling guarantees a quality show that allows them to live up to the name Elite. If you're feeling generous, go ahead and check them out on Patreon as well. If you back them, you're going to get early access to all of their shows before they hit YouTube. Again, check out EliteProfessionalWrestling.com. This episode is brought to you by Venom Energy. Hey, we've all been there, and there's nothing wrong with admitting to it. Well, what I mean is that we've all hit that midday slump, and we all need a little push to get us through the rest of the day. Well, what better option to give you a pick-me-up than one of the wonderful flavors of Venom Energy? Venom is what gets MadBash through those long show days, and we know that it can do the same for you. I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit for you, too. Yeah, come to our merch table when you see us at a show, and with the purchase of a MadBash Wrestling sticker or magnet, you get a Venom Energy drink on us. While supplies last, of course, so you better act quick. We'd like to thank Venom again for sponsoring this episode. Please consume responsibly. Not recommended for children under 18, pregnant or nursing women, or people sensitive to caffeine. All right, we're back here. The best managers in WWE history ranked. We have placed our bets on who we think is where. I believe number 1 is going to be Bobby Heenan. Michael Madrox believes that number 1 is going to be Paul Heyman.
No.
Am I wrong on that? Did I fuck that up?
Yes.
Did we both think Heenan?
You thought Heyman at first.
Okay.
And then you switched it to Heenan.
So we both think Heenan's going to be number 1. Okay.
Yes.
That's my fault. And you think Heyman is number 2?
Yes.
I think Heyman is 3. Number 2 is Miss Elizabeth. Okay. Coming in at number 12,
Steven Richards.
Sonny. Yeah. Tammy Sitch came to the WWF after making waves as part of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, appearing as Sonny alongside her real-life boyfriend, Chris Candido, Skip. It wasn't long before she was managing WWF Tag Team Champions Skip and Zip, the Body Donnas. The team known collectively as the Body Donnas captured gold at WrestleMania 12. Blah, blah, blah. Just kind of breaking down. She was with the Guns, of course. She was with Legion of Doom 2000. All of that. So,
which look did you prefer Sonny in?
That's a tough one.
Cheerleader, the cowgirl.
I gotta go cheerleader.
New metal.
probably Body Donna. Sonny was probably the best one. All right. Coming in at number 11. We ready?
Rick Rude.
I'm a little bit, okay. I'm fine with where this one is. Number 11 is Jim Cornette.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Cornette did do a lot of work in WWF. It even says here, Cornette's exploits as a manager obviously extended well beyond the WWF. If this list was an all-encompassing background of managers' career across all promotions, he would rank much higher due to his time with the Midnight Express. However, for the purpose of this piece, we are
So they're just focusing WWE.
We are concentrating specifically on his time in WWF, Camp Cornette, all that. So this is making me think that, yes, Bobby Heenan is going to be number 1 on this list.
Yes.
And I am also completely fine with Jim Cornette being number 11, because if you look outside of WWE, he would rank much higher. Mm-hmm. Also, during this, there is one manager name that we absolutely forgot to even mention. Where does Paul Bearer rank on this list?
Oh, shit.
How did we forget Paul Bearer?
Top
Where's
5.
Brother Love? I don't think Brother Love makes top 5. I think Paul Bearer makes number 5. I'd be
surprised if Brother Love made the list.
Here it goes. Here's the top 5, what I think this list is going to be. It's going to be Heenan, Heyman, Miss Elizabeth. I'm going to give it to Paul Bearer. And then number 5, I'm probably going to give it to, I don't know. That's a tough one to say definitively. But I do think Paul Bearer makes it in the top 5. Not Paul Bearer. Cornette's time as a manager with the promotion extended to 1998 when he led an NWA invasion angle with Jeff Jarrett, Barry Windham, the Rock and Roll Express, Dan Severn, and a new version of the Midnight Express, Bob Holly and Bart Gunn. While Cornette never reached anything to the equivalent of his 80s heyday in the WWF, he was always a memorable television character. Agreed. Yep. We have now reached the top 10. You're going to like this one.
Am I?
Yep. Coming in at number 10, the Grand Wizard.
There we go, brother.
Yeah. The Grand Wizard was synonymous with gold in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation in the 70s and 80s, first leading the team of Professor Toru Tanaka and Mr. Fuji to WWF Tag Team Championships twice, when he set his eyes on singles gold, guiding Stan Stasiak to the WWF Championship. A few years after Stasiak's title win, the Wizard took his biggest star, superstar Billy Graham, to gold. Okay. So we're seeing the first guy from early 70s make this list.
Yes.
So that gives me hope for what I'm guessing if he's going that deep, because I don't think Grand Wizard's mainstream. I'm sorry. I didn't know Grand Wizard died in 83. Jesus Christ. I'm definitive. I think Heenan's number 1. If Heenan is not number 1, I will eat my hat. All right. Number 9. Okay.
Wait a minute, Dickie Wabash.
Yeah.
If Heenan's not number 1, does this sound like a pizza bet?
No, because we both agree that Heenan's number 1.
Let's throw some flavor on it, brother. I don't want you eating your hat. I'd rather feed you a slice of pizza.
So who are you thinking's number 1?
I still think Heenan, but I'm saying if he's not,
then who has to buy who the pizza? Do you not understand how a pizza bet works? We have to disagree.
If Heenan is not number 1 and it's someone else, I will buy you a pizza.
That's not how a pizza bet works, but if you want to buy me a pizza, go right ahead.
I'll buy you a pizza. I got
All
you,
right.
brother.
Number 9, Arnold Skolland. There's another kind of a deep cut.
That's a deep dive, brother.
Yeah. Arnold Skolland was a legend as both a wrestler and a manager over the course of 3 decades in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Later, the World Wrestling Federation. While his in-ring career was noteworthy, he also served as a producer and business partner alongside Vince McMahon Sr. behind the scenes. Skolland's he's really... Man, if we're putting Grand Wizard and Skolland on this list, Blassie has got to be on this list, right?
Guaranteed.
At this point, do you think Blassie makes the top 5?
I would say so, yep. Because you got to think about it, dude. Blassie was still managing until 98, 99?
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
No, he was not. Dude, you just say shit sometimes, and I don't think
Look it up. Look it up.
Freddie Blassie was absolutely not managing in 98. In the WWF, he wasn't. Freddie Blassie. Okay. Freddie Blassie, the maker of champions. Okay. Guest appearances. He was making guest appearances.
You're still managing, though.
You look for this shit that there is nothing. Yeah. Okay. There is no mention of him managing anybody in 98 on this Wikipedia, for the record. Just saying. You're full of shit. You have the weirdest thoughts that I've ever heard. Throughout his career, though his wrestling career was nothing to disregard, it was Skolland's time as a manager that put his name over the top. He did manage Bruno Sammartino, yeah. He captured the WWF Championship. Yeah, Skolland at number 9. We're getting some deep ones. All right, you ready for number 8?
Yep. Luna.
Coming in at number 8. Classy Freddie Blassie. He didn't make the top 5. That could have been a good pizza bet. Freddie Blassie was one of the most prominent figures in the WWF when the company began its national expansion in the early to mid 80s, we'll agree. A great wrestler in his own right, much like Arnold Skolland before him, Blassie turned to managing in the mid 1970s. Over the next decade plus, he would manage a who's who of Hall of Famers. Names that benefited from Blassie managing them include Hulk Hogan, the Iron Sheik, Peter Maivia, Nikolai Volkov, Adrian Adonis, Ray Stevens, Jesse Ventura. I was managed by Freddie Blassie. Terrible Jesse Ventura. Dick Murdoch, George the Animal Steel, Kamala, Hercules Hernandez, Blackjack Mulligan, and many more. One of the biggest moments, and I forgot about this actually, one of the biggest moments of stardom came when he served as manager for Muhammad Ali in his bout against Antonio Inoki. I forgot that Blassie was involved in that. I've actually read a book about that.
Did you?
Yeah, it's really fascinating because what's so funny about it is that Inoki just lays down on his back and starts kicking at Ali. And a lot of people think that the damage that Ali received in that match to his legs had lasting effect on his boxing career. The course of wrestling history was changed in January of 1984 when Hogan captured the WWF title from the Iron Sheik in Madison Square Garden. Classy was there for all of it as the manager of the Iron Sheik, playing a heavy role during the feud as Hogan's ex-manager and now adversary. A year later, Blassie obtained more gold as a manager when he led Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik to the WWF Tag Team Championships at the first ever WrestleMania. Wow. We're seeing a lot of early ones coming in.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of early ones come in. Getting ready to go on to number 7. We ready?
No one modern yet, though.
That's what's making me kind of maybe have some second guesses on my thought process of
Paul Heyman.
Yeah, Heyman. Wow. Wow. Coming in at number 7, Miss Elizabeth.
Told you.
Wow. That's crazy. I genuinely thought she would be in the top 3.
Just by how this guy's going.
Yeah. Wow. With more eyeballs on the WWF than ever before following Vince McMahon's successful foray into national expansion, Elizabeth became a megastar during the mid-1980s while her husband portrayed a jealous heel on television, something that sometimes wasn't far off from their real relationship. Fans got behind Elizabeth as the damsel in distress who deserves better treatment. Her memorable interactions with George the Animal Steel during the build to WrestleMania 3 in 1987 stand out as a great example of this. We'll agree with her on that one. Wow. Wow. I cannot believe Elizabeth is at number 7. What does that do for the top 5? Because, I mean, you got to admit, look at this objectively. Don't look at your personal opinions. Elizabeth, you would think would be top 5.
Yeah.
Man, that's a weird one. That's a weird one to put there. So let's do this. Let's look at number 6. And then let's kind of drop back and punt here and try to figure out what we think the top 5 is.
Okay.
You good with that?
Yep.
Coming in at number 6. Wow, this guy is going some directions, brother, that number 6 is Captain Lou Albano.
Ah, we forgot Captain Lou, baby.
My whole thought process is out the window. The only hope that I still got, Heenan definitely makes the top 5. Obviously, Heenan is going to be in the top 5 because we've made it to 6. There has been no mention of Bobby the Brain Heenan, so that's pretty much obvious. If this ad wasn't over.
Seeing how this guy is 70s and 80s heavy.
Yeah.
Heenan, Fuji.
Well, no, we're not doing. Hang on, I want to read about, but I fucking can't because an ad is glitched out and it's over the article. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, just go into it. So this guy is very, definitely he's 70s and 80s heavy for sure. I will agree with you on that. But I mean, let's look at the era. Like let's look at who's left. We got Heenan, we got Sherry. You go first here. I'm kind of thinking.
I was gonna say we got Heenan, we got Sherry, we got
Paul Bearer.
Fuji.
Does Fuji make? Okay. Do you think Fuji makes the top 5?
Yes. Especially the way this guy's going.
I don't know, man. He's putting. Yeah.
He's got the Fuji's fucking mentor, the Grand Wizard, up there.
So far, the most modern person we've seen is Sonny. You could technically say Cornette, but
he was more 80s.
Yeah, but I mean, he was even talking about Cornette's 90s run, though, is what I'm getting at here. I don't fucking know, man. This list has thrown me for a loop.
Completely different.
Heenan's number 1. He has to be.
Jimmy
right?
Hart's got to be up there.
Oh my God, Jimmy. Okay.
I think that's the 5.
So we've got managers that we know that of this caliber have not made this list yet. Brother Love, Paul Bearer, Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Sherry, Mr. Fuji. I don't want to say Harvey Whippleman. I'm going to say Harvey Whippleman has not made the list. If I'm putting Brother Love on there,
if you're putting Harvey Whippleman and Brother Love, you got to put up Slick.
Oh my God. Is Slick in the top 5? I'm serious. Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think so, but the way this guy's going, and I don't know what his like criteria is for like picking this order.
Well, his criteria, yeah, I mean, we kind of read it at the beginning. So far, the only like major criteria that we've seen is that they just had to be in the WWE. You know, here's what I don't like. Okay, so let's read about what he has to say about Lou Albano, and then maybe that it would be hard to have a list such as this without including Captain Lou Albano. Will agree. Another notable name during WWF's expansion period in the mid 1980s. Albano even received mainstream attention when he was cast in Cyndi Lauper's music video for the mega hit Girls Just Want to Have Fun, playing Lauper's father. Of course, Lauper was involved in the WWF at that time as well, leading charge of the Rock and Wrestling Connection that would springboard the WWF toward MTV exposure, WrestleMania, and national mainstream prominence. Like many wrestling managers, Albano himself started out as a competitor. However, he transitioned into managerial side in the early 1970s. Albano became synonymous with championship gold during the 70s, 80s, and 90s as a manager. There are few in the history of the industry who have managed more champions. For Albano, that includes a record-setting 15 different tag team champions and singles champions. It's no obviously it's no secret. Captain Lou Albano truly is one of the most instrumental figures for the national expansion. Absolutely. Yes. Also got to look at how prominently that he was featured. It's so bizarre to me, though, that Miss Elizabeth is before him on this list. It just is.
That last few sentences there, he's talking about how many champions they have managed. If he's going by that criteria for the top 5, I don't think we see Paul Heyman in it, brother. Because when you think about Paul Heyman up until 2022 in WWF, who did he manage? Lesnar? Big Show?
We're going to see Heyman on this list, dude. If you think Heyman's not on this list, you're fucking stupid.
It's making me fucking nervous, brother. That's all I'm saying.
Heyman, dude. We also got to take this into consideration.
Where's J.J. Dillon?
Not WWF. It's WWF and E. It's almost as if you don't listen sometimes.
I know. It's just pissing me off, brother.
Here's the thing. This was written in 22. This was written in 2022. So Roman Reigns was still hot and heavy. Heyman wasn't even in the Hall of Fame yet.
Nope.
Okay, here's my top 5. With this criteria, this is where I think we're going with this top 5. I think we're going, number 1 is Heenan. 2 is going to be Heyman. 3 is Paul Bearer. 5, Mr. Fuji. 4, Mr. Fuji. And I'm going to throw a wild card in there. I bet Sensational Sherry's in the top 5.
Think so?
She's got to be at this point, right?
You'd think.
And the fact that she is outranking Miss Elizabeth, come on. Come on. Give me your top 5 right now. Why do you think this top 5 is?
It's Heenan. I'm going to pull Heyman. I'm going to throw Jimmy Hart.
I take out Sensational Sherry and I put in Jimmy Hart.
Put in Jimmy Hart as number 2. I'm going to put Fuji still at 3.
Okay.
I'm going to put Sensational Sherry at 4 and Heyman at 5.
Here's the pizza bet. Paul Heyman is in this top 5.
Okay, I got him in my top 5.
You pulled him.
I pulled him to number 5 from number 2.
I think he's higher than that, dude. I think he's higher than that.
There's our pizza bet, brother.
He's in the top
Let's go.
3. Heyman's in the top 3. You think he's in the top 5? Okay.
Let's go.
And if he's not on the list, which I highly fucking doubt it,
We'll both eat our hat.
Nolan Void. Wow. Coming in at number 5. Sensational Sherry. I almost had it dead on. Wow. Sherry Martel was not only a great manager, but she was a great wrestler as well. You noticing a theme here? It's always great wrestlers that transition into managers.
Yep.
A 3-time AWA Women's Champion prior to joining the WWF in the late 80s. However, it was her time in the WWF that, of course, made her a global superstar. Sensational Sherry was a staple of WWF television for many years, most widely remembered for the pairings with DiBiase, Savage, Michaels. Probably when she was Queen Sherry was her most known, I would say. Yeah. Sensational Sherry breaks the top 5. Wow. Do you agree with that?
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with that, actually. Yeah. Here we go. This is what's going to dictate this pizza bet. You think he's in the top 5? I think he's in the top 3. If he is in the top 5, I owe Michael Madrox a pizza. If he is in the top 3, Michael Madrox owes me a pizza. That's Paul Heyman, of course. Coming in at number 4, Jimmy Hart. Coming in at number 4. Wow.
Dude, I swear to God, if number 1 Swoggle.
Already a grizzled veteran brother of the Memphis territory by the time he reached the WWF in 1985, Hart arrived in Vince McMahon's promotion just in time to cash in on one of the most successful periods in wrestling history. He was a staple of television during the era. Seriously, it feels like if you name a WWF wrestler in the 1980s, there's got to be at least a 1 in 4 chance that Hart managed them at some point. He's not wrong.
No.
He's pretty spot on that one. Greg Valentine, Brutus Beefcake, Bundy, The Missing Link, Adrian Adonis, The Funk Family, The Hart Foundation, Honky Tonk Man. Wow, yeah, he really did have a who's who. Not to mention the Natural Disasters, the Nasty Boys, Dino Bravo, the Fabulous Rougeau Brothers, the Mountie, Money Inc., even Hulk Hogan. Okay. We have entered the home stretch here. We've got the top 5. Top 3. I am now doing this. Heyman is number 3. Number 2 is Paul Bearer. And number 1 is Bobby Heenan. There is no way that we leave this list and Bobby Heenan is not number 1. Simply put.
Heenan, Bearer, Fuji.
So, okay. That's your top 3.
Yep.
So, number 1 is Heenan. 2 is who?
Bearer,
and then Fuji. Okay, so for me, it's Heenan, Heyman, Bearer. Okay. Here we go. Number 3. This is the moment of truth. If it's Bobby Heenan, I'm putting a fist through this wall. Wow. I might be goddamn spot on with my top 3. I might, because coming in at number 3, we have got Paul Bearer. Oh boy. We need to come up with something where if one of us guesses the top 3 dead on, that we win something. We may need to figure that out. Yeah. Wow. Paul Bearer's career alongside just one man, The Undertaker, could have ranked him this high on the list by itself, yet he was was even able to reinvent himself late in his career and have a successful run as a manager for multiple other wrestlers to cement his place in the top tier of wrestling's greatest managers. Of course, Paul Bearer's time alongside The Undertaker is what comes to mind first, after honing his craft as Percy Pringle, blah, blah, blah. He was with Taker. He was with Mankind. He was with Kane. Paul Bearer at number 3. Okay.
Top 2, baby.
Top 2. And I'm telling you.
If it ain't Heyman, he ain't on this fucking list, brother.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Heenan at number 1, Heyman at number 2. My favorite topping for pizza is pepperoni, banana peppers, and pineapple.
You're disgusting.
Coming in at number 2 is Paul Heyman. That means Heenan has got to be number 1, right?
It has to.
Do we want to just skip now to number 1 and just confirm that
Paul
it is
Heyman.
Bobby
He's
Heenan?
got enough accolades in his life.
It's Bobby Heenan. It's Bobby Heenan coming in at number 1, as if he wasn't even going to be. Wow. Okay, so number 2 is Heyman. Number 1 is Heenan. Dude, I guess that top 3 spot on, motherfucker.
You did, brother.
Dead on. To be fair, it was a little bit later in the list where I had less variables, and I changed my top 3 like 3 or 4 times. So, but it is what it is. Wow. Heyman is the only, him, Paul Bearer, and Sonny are the only quote unquote modern managers that were on this list. Mr. Fuji did not make the list.
No.
Who else didn't make this list here? Brother
Slick.
Love, not on the list. Slick,
Harvey
not on the
Whippleman.
list.
Clarence Mason.
But do you really put them in GOAT conversation?
Marlena.
Oh, wow. Terry Runnels. I didn't even think about her. She actually was not terrible.
Luna fucking wasn't on it, brother.
Luna. Wow. Man. So.
The Jackal.
Number 2 is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman gets the nod as number 2 on this list. The importance to the success of 2 of the most dominant world champions in WWE history, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. That is not even everything that the man has done since coming to the WWE. That's true. He managed Big Show to a title. He had a brief alliance with Kurt Angle.
Ryback, baby.
Ryback, Curtis Axel, and now, all joking aside, CM Punk,
Cesaro.
Well, yeah, man. And then, of course, Heenan at number 1. It had to be Heenan. It had to be. Who else could it have been? Who else could it have been, dude? All right, Madrox. This is the part where here's a fun little side thing. There are comments to this article. So let's read some comments here.
You should save that for the paid show, brother.
Let's do that. We'll do that. So let's do it. Let's rank this list. What we think on the MadBash scale. Was this a good list or was it a bad list? You go first.
I'm going to go with a 2.1.
2.1. Wow. Why so low?
Because there's a lot of off-the-wall managers, and it didn't have like a very good set criteria to me.
Yeah, it was there were some choices. There were definitely some choices. I think the top 5 was perfect, actually. I make the top 5 perfect. The only thing I would change, I would swap out Sensational Sherry for Miss Elizabeth, personally. I'm going to be way more understanding with this list, and I'm going to give it, on the MadBash scale, I'm going to give it a 3.8. I'm going to give it a 3.8.
3.8?
Yeah, I don't want to quite give it a 4, but I also really don't want to give it 3.5. I'm going to put it like about 3.8. I'm going to give it a 3.8. I think that what I like about this list, I think, is what you hated about this list. Let's acknowledge the Grand Wizard. Let's acknowledge Arnold Skulland. Let's acknowledge Freddie Blassie. Let's go a little bit off the wall and realize that just because this is what we think the list should be, in reality, brother, like Arnold Skulland's good enough in his own right. You know what I mean? And you probably don't even have any idea who Arnold Skulland is. Let's be honest.
That's true.
Is that true?
My time.
You truly don't know who Skulland is?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah,
I'm just saying, like, it's a travesty that Sonny was placed higher than someone like Luna Vachon.
That's an issue that I have with it too. I don't think Sonny, so for the number 12 spot, I would push Sonny out, and then I would move Sonny, or put Mr. Fuji he would break the top 10.
Fuji has to be in the top 10, man.
Yeah. I think Sonny's the only person I would take off this list.
Yes.
But now, again, we're looking at it subjectively. This is what we would do. Again, my top 5, I would keep the top 3. I would put number 4 as Jim. Actually, I would keep the top 4. I would keep Jimmy Hart at number 4. I'm putting Miss Elizabeth at number 5, moving everyone up 1, and then I'm moving taking off Sonny, and then bringing Mr. Fuji to number 10.
I'd keep it the same, except for taking off Sonny and having Mr. Fuji up to number 3.
Okay.
And then moving it down.
Okay. So basically the list would stay the same for you, except you're adding Fuji to 3, so that moves everybody
else
okay.
down 1.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, up, down, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, this was definitely one that I didn't expect. This one kind of threw me for a loop. You really had to think outside the box with this one, and I enjoyed it. I would like to find one that is not limited to just WWE. I would like
more of a broader spectrum.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, all right, Madrox, what do you say we get on out of here?
Right into the page show.
Yep. We are going to be diving into the comments of this article on Page Show. We've also got a couple of other things that we're going to discuss on Page Show, such as our weekend. Had a very fun weekend. We're going to dive into that a little bit. Going to give you some life updates, because there's a running theme with some stuff that we typically like to bring up and talk about. So you're going to hear a little bit from that. So yeah, you can, of course, find that on patreon.com/MadBash Studios, starting at the $5 tier. We're going to go ahead and hop on out of here, though. We're going to roll into that. You can, of course, find me on Instagram at DWobsCardShop. You can find Michael Madrox at the word 1 and then the numbers 900-909-9900. MadBashStudios.com for all of your Mad Bash wrestling needs. Of course, Patreon.com/MadBash Studios to keep the envelopes full and the microphones on. For those of you that are already on the Patreon, you can hear us on Page Show. But if you're not on the Patreon, we will see you down the road on some form of content.